Liu Feng never thought that he would stay with Dr. Qin for so long. The slave market was already closed as night fell. He knew that he would have to come again, because he did not know that the slave market closed at 5 o'clock in the evening. Dr. Qin said that the head of the market is grateful to her for saving his life, and she can introduce him to him next time. Thinking about tomorrow's task, Liu Feng realized that he, Kelly, and Li Xin would be in charge of completing it, while Long Xuan would guard the house. Their main goal is to search for samples of nanotechnology. But before that, I decided to log in and upgrade myself. Lately, he has accumulated a lot of quality and skill points, so he decided to upgrade his Kung Fu Master skill, which increases combat intuition at long distances and can allow him to avoid the use of weapons. Therefore, he decided to immediately raise it 8 levels to the 16th power level and go to the bank. He immediately received a new ability called Two Things at Once. He could now use 2 melee weapons with both hands at the same time. Thanks to this, the damage it inflicts on opponents is doubled. Liu Feng immediately remembered that he had a mechanical left arm, Shu Ju, and it could be used thanks to this new ability. And he immediately began to transform it. Upon completion of his education, he discovered a new Kung Fu, a level 3 technique called Combined Strikes, and also received a Praying Mantis sword. 2 things at once, the art of wielding 2 swords, and a Praying Mantis sword to boot. His evening was a success. Liu Feng still had 3,000 points left, so he decided to buy a weapon for Li Xin, since the old one was no longer suitable for her. And he bought her an MHI machine gun for 1,500 points. Suddenly Li Xin entered the room. Liu Feng told her that she had come on time and asked her to look at the weapon he had made for her. Li Xin was pleasantly surprised, saying that she had just arrived and had already received such a wonderful gift. As a thank you, she squeezed his head between her breasts, but Liu Feng asked her to stop because Kelly was outside. Li Xin said that if not now, she would definitely thank him in the evening. Liu Feng understood that he could no longer escape because he had provoked her wild nature. Suddenly Kelly entered the tent. Hearing that Liu Feng was communicating with someone, she decided to check and find out with whom. The next day, a collection point was located 1 kilometer from the city of Zinanzin. The soldiers reported to Commander Chu Shanhei that the gathering was successfully completed. Liu Feng, heading to the city of Shinanjin with his team, met Commander Chu Shanhei on the way and asked him what he was doing here. Commander Chu was happy to see Liu Feng, but he didn't think that the Mutant Association would send him to help. Suddenly, unexpectedly for Liu Feng, someone called him. Turning around, he saw Dr. Qin and asked her what she was doing here. The doctor replied that she was accompanying the military as a doctor, and at the same time she would look for pharmacies in the city. Walking closer to Liu Feng, she said that judging by his expression, his body was empty again and she doesn't like it. Li Xin approached Liu Feng and said that they had not seen each other for only a few days, but he had already managed to make a new girlfriend. After which she approached Dr. Qin and said that her name was Li Xin, and she was Liu Feng's first partner. Dr. Qin said that she was pleased to meet you, and she seemed to understand that Li Xin was the reason why Liu Feng's body was exhausted so often, and she said that she should control herself. Kelly noticed that Li Xin was wearing yesterday's latex clothes, but before she had time to say anything, Commander Chu appeared and asked everyone to go into the tent because it was time for the pre-battle meeting. At that moment, the tent was very noisy due to the fact that everyone was discussing the future offensive. But Commander Chu went to the microphone and asked for silence in order to briefly describe their combat mission. He said their mission was to explore the city as the garrison in the city suddenly stopped communicating 2 days ago. Their goal is to investigate the cause of the sudden loss of contact with the garrison. Liu Feng remembered that the K3 Research Institute was located under the bell tower, and decided that he also needed to get supplies if possible. Commander Chu asked all the bounty hunters to participate in their mission, saying that the military would provide 3 of its soldiers as support, after which he said that they could perform. Upon arrival in the city, Commander Chu stopped the convoy and ordered everyone to leave their vehicles. The city was too quiet, and there were not a single zombie, which was very strange. There were traces of blood on the ground, but there were no traces of zombies. Liu Feng and his team decided that they needed to check everything first. They carefully walked into the nearest building and saw a mug of coffee on the table. The coffee turned out to be cold. Following them, a gang of thugs entered the building and shoved them in the shoulder or shin. One of them said that the mutants should not get in the way under their feet. Liu Feng and his team can wait outside. The mercenaries quickly explored the room, not understanding where all the people had fled to. Suddenly, an infused zombie, a mutant, came out from around the corner to meet them. He immediately grabbed one of the mercenaries and began to eat her. The mercenary with the cowboy hat, without thinking for a long time, opened fire on him with a double-barreled shotgun in order to save his partner Li Ping. Well, the zombie couldn't do anything. The mutants completely ate his partner and her head became part of the body of this monster. Li Xin said that they had already met a similar monster, but Liu Feng didn't think so. The cowboy came closer to the zombie monster and put his shotgun to his girlfriend's head in order to kill Li Ping once and for all and prevent the zombie monster from taking over a piece of her. But he was immediately grabbed by zombie tentacles and was on the verge of death. The cowboy was lucky that Liu Feng was nearby and came to his aid. After Liu Feng cut off the mutant zombie's head, he thought it was all over. On zombies, the mutant did not die by losing his head. Seeing such a large number of heads on the body of this zombie mutant, Liu Feng realized that they had eaten all the people in the city. And it turns out that how many heads he has, that's how many he killed. While Liu Feng stood and pondered over the heads of the zombies, Li Xin intervened in the duel, and thanks to her new machine gun, she simply tore this mutant zombie to shreds. Having fired all guns at the zombie mutant and shot off all his limbs and heads, they thought that they had dealt with him. But that's not how it turned out, and the body of a mutant zombie torn in half attacked one of the thugs and ate him. Hearing Dr. Chin's cry, Liu Feng looked outside and saw 5 more exactly the same, but much larger zombies and realized that they were surrounded. Commander Chu said that conventional weapons were useless and ordered everyone to head towards the barracks, because there were heavy weapons. Liu Feng could not understand what happened in this city and why are all the zombies so strange. Liu Feng said that they should not linger in this place and ordered Li Xin to use his invisibility cloak to protect Dr. Chin. He also said that if she found any supplies, she should send him a message, as he and Kelly were heading to the K3 shelter. Seeing these monsters, Kelly began to worry that they would eat her. But Liu Feng told her not to worry, as he would not let those monsters touch her. And he began to chop off the heads of the monster that stood in their way with his sword. Using the Kung Fu fire glove technique, Liu Feng fired a powerful blow at the monster, thereby tearing it into small pieces. Seeing this strength, the mercenaries decided to go alongside Liu Feng. Meanwhile, while Liu Feng was dealing with a huge mutant zombie, Kelly was kidnapped by a 2-headed flying zombie. Liu Feng could not believe his eyes because before that he had never met such flying zombie mutants. The mercenaries were also shocked by the sight of flying mutant zombies. One of the flyers cut off the head of one mercenary and flew away with it. Their general disappointment was that the flying zombies were a lot, and they were ready to tear people apart. The cowboy ordered his men to open fire on these flyers. But the flying zombies were not so easy to kill because it was very difficult to hit them in the head. So the mercenary had to flee. Liu Feng, without thinking about anything, rushed in pursuit of the zombie who stole Kelly along the way, killing all the flying zombies that came his way. Liu Feng knew that he couldn't catch the flying zombie with his feet, so he decided to shoot the crossbow straight at its head, hoping that it would die. The flying zombie did not die because it had 2 heads. It survived and, becoming even more angry, flew faster. Kelly knew she was doing badly because she thought the flying zombie was taking her to a nest of zombie walkers. She remembered that she had a revolver hidden in her bra. Taking it out, she shot at the second head of the flying zombie, thereby killing it. Seeing that Kelly was falling from a great height, Liu Feng took the mechanical claws and shot a cable in order to catch her. Kelly was falling from a great height, and she knew that it looked like this was the end for her, but she considered it quite good, knowing that she would not die from a zombie bite. She also understood that without her, Liu Feng would be free and would be able to do whatever he wanted without worrying about her safety. But Liu Feng still managed to catch her, after which he asked her why she acted so recklessly. They looked into each other's eyes, and it seemed that this was the most romantic and sweet moment in their lives. Suddenly, with great speed, they broke through the wall in the clock tower and found themselves inside. A second after the dust cleared, Liu Feng saw that Kelly had attacked him and was holding his hands so that he could not resist. Before Liu Feng had time to ask Kelly to get off him, he noticed that something strange was happening with the bell above them. After swaying slightly to the right and left, the bell suddenly collapsed and covered Liu Feng and Kelly. He immediately realized that they were stuck under the bell and asked Kelly to wait a little because he would pick it up. Kelly asked him if he knew what she was thinking when the zombie grabbed her, and she answered that she thought she was going to die. But he saved her life again. Liu Feng asked her, could she be afraid too? Kelly replied that she too is a person, although outwardly she remains calm. But at night she can only sleep peacefully if she covers herself with clothes saturated with the smell of Liu Feng. No matter how strong she may seem, she cannot calmly face death. And in fact, she fears death more than anyone, and all because she has not yet achieved her revenge. And this end of the world has taken everything from her. Liu Feng realized that he had to comfort her, so he told her to calm down since he was by her side. Kelly responded by telling him that he was so gentle, she thought they could discuss some other issues. Kelly took off her dress, exposing her breasts, and said that she wanted to talk to him about what he was afraid of. Liu Feng was terrified because he was afraid he wouldn't be able to cope. In his fantasies, he was the ideal military pilot. But seeing Kelly, he was afraid because he knew that she was an enemy pilot, AC, and she noticed him. He realized that the enemy had noticed him. That's why I tried to call Mayday. Mayday, the enemy is coming. Liu Feng said that he needed to evacuate. The enemy pilot warned that his ship was about to be shot down and asked him to eject. But Liu Feng, looking at the photo of his brother, knew that men were only going forward bravely, and he could not give up. Pilot Kelly didn't even notice when suddenly Liu Feng took a dominant position, using a strike from the rear. After such a tough and unpredictable dominant blow from the rear, Kelly realized that she had lost and happily accepted the defeat. Meanwhile, Li Xin decided to ask Dr. Qin who she thinks is ringing the bell. It has been ringing for several hours. Aren't they afraid of attracting zombies? Dr. Qin rummaged through her things and found 2 green caps, saying that one of them was Li Xin. She put it on her head, and the second one for herself. Li Xin began to worry a little about Liu Feng and Kelly, because they didn't even know where they were. In fact, Liu Feng and Kelly were just nearby and were ringing the bell all night. The next day, Liu Feng woke up quite tired. Since they were ringing the bell all night, it was more difficult with Kelly than with Li Xin. He felt that it was 100% worth it, defeating Kelly for the first time in aerial combat using an attack from the rear. Liu Feng never thought that he would not have time to return home. Suddenly, on the way back, his hold was broken, and Kelly entered his ship, saying that he really wanted to get rid of her so quickly, he definitely wouldn't be able to do it. Seeing that Liu Feng got up before her, she said that he seemed to be full of strength today, and immediately hijacked his fighter, pulling the handles with incredible speed. After such a morning release, Liu Feng prepared breakfast for Kelly, after which he approached her and asked why she chose him. Why did she like him? She answered him that he should not humiliate himself. After all, he saved so many people and many women are crazy about him. Even though he stole her electricity, he also braved several kilometers of zombie infestations to save her. For this reason alone, her ex-fiancé Zheng Tianxiong is not worth even one of Liu Feng's fingers. Looking at Kelly, Liu Feng knew that this was the first woman besides his sister that he wanted to protect day and night. He realized that he had to make a protective suit for her because the world of the apocalypse was too dangerous. At that moment, Li Xin called him with a report that she had found the granary and completed a side quest. He thanked Li Xin for her good work and sent her the coordinates of the bell tower, asking her to find him. At that moment, Kelly asked him who he was with last night in the tent. Not with Li Xin by any chance? Liu Feng asked Kelly to wait, because he was ready to explain everything to her. Kelly understood that men, even before the end of the world, will remain unchanged. Therefore, she pinched his back with all her strength, causing him incredible pain. 10 minutes later, on the first floor of the bell tower, Liu Feng was already fighting zombies and mutants at full speed. Fortunately for them, the local zombies did not have time to merge with people and did not become super mutants, absorbers of human flesh. Meanwhile, she searched the entire first floor and found a secret retinal reader in the statue. The statue scanned Kelly's retina and recognized her as the head of the Fox family, Kelly Fox, and opened access to the K3 laboratory. Meanwhile, the cowboy was shooting back at the mutant zombies, but realizing that there were too many of them, he decided to run away from them.